What's your reading of the situation in the Niger Delta with regards to oil theft? Would you think that government is helpless, as Dr. Akali tried to put it, even though in different words? Or do you think there's something that can be done to curb the theft?
Government cannot be helpless. Any day government becomes helpless, it means the sovereignty of Nigeria is in jeopardy. So I don't think government can be helpless or should be helpless. What is required is the political will and determination to solve this existential problem that has been with us for as long as I can remember. Just to put some perspectives to the issue of oil theft. As we speak, the 2024 budget is already in jeopardy because the benchmark of oil production, the target, is supposed to be 1.78 barrels per day oil production. And Nigeria is barely doing a little over 1.3 million barrels per day. So it tells you that for a difficult time such as we are in Nigeria, the government might not be able to meet up its spending obligations for the fiscal year 2024. And so that should give you an idea of what we are contending with. And a report by NTA also indicated that between 2009 and 2020, a period of about 11 or 12 years, Nigeria lost over 600 million barrels of crude oil to oil thieves with a value of about $45 billion. I mean, this should give you, should make us understand the enormity of the crisis at hand and why the government should do all it can to stamp out these menace of oil thieves, particularly in oil-producing communities. And there are many ways to doing this, this very important national assignment. Thankfully, the president has finally given the marching order to the Chief of Defense Staff to mobilize conventional forces to move into the region with a set date, like it will give them a target to say, go in and make sure this national embarrassment is put an end once and for all. And from the statements already coming out of the defense headquarters on their strategies and the tactics of operation they intend to adopt, I think it will be far-reaching if they are given the enablement to do the needful that is most required now. Talking about deterrence, for example, it is important because I think militancy over many years of economic injustice, environmental injustice, and even political marginalization of the Niger Delta, which happens to be the largest producer of this very important national resource, somehow dovetailed into what you call economic sabotage as a means of protestation. Yes, the Nigerian state will have to do more to address the grievances of the peoples of the Niger Delta. As far as I'm concerned, nothing is too much to be given to a region that actually serves as is it the goose now that lays the golden egg? And a lot more should be done. And that's why some of us argued, for example, when the PIA was being put together, that we needed at least 5% of the profits from operating companies in the region to be set aside to be part of the development fund, National 13% derivation fund that Doctor talked about, intervention agencies like the Ministry of Niger Delta and the NDDC. However, while this is simply within the framework of good governance that will help in the non-kinetic approach to pacifying the region and giving them ownership, a sense of ownership of oil assets, as long as they are beneficiaries of the wealth coming out of their own land. But as a government, we must act as a government. And in this regard, considering the importance of crude oil to the Nigerian economy, is the mainstay of our economy. It accounts for over 80% of foreign exchange earnings for this country. To the extent that our national budget is benchmarked by not just the price of crude oil, but by the output, the production output. Our entire budget is based on crude oil. And so any attempt to sabotage oil production should, by this time, be designated as a treasonable offense, which is in line with what Doctor talked about terrorism. But I think treason should be like, the legal cover or designation for this very nefarious activity. And I would think that the Ministry of Justice, ably led by the Minister and Attorney General of the Federation, should by now begin to put pen to paper on how to probably send an executive bill to the National Assembly to now designate under our statutes oil theft and activities, surrounding oil theft, associated with oil theft, as a treasonable offense. And again, I think I also agree with the fact that the urgency of the time requires the Attorney General, the Minister of Justice, to also liaise with the judicial arm of government, the head of the judiciary, the Chief Justice of Nigeria, and heads of court, to see if there will be a possibility of setting up special courts that will serve as tribunals that will try cases of oil theft. I say this because if there is no law, there's no offense. And if you do not dispense justice adequately, if you do not do the needful to bring those that are perpetrating these acts of economic sabotage to justice, you will not be able to, give that indication of deterrence to intending offenders. So I think all of this should be done as immediately as yesterday because of the urgency of the situation. But beyond this, again, I must also reiterate that the federal government must also liaise with the state governments of Niger Delta, especially the oil-producing states, to begin to dedicate the 13% derivation to the development of their state, and specifically oil-producing communities. In oil-producing states, there are oil-producing communities. We want to see the dividends of this 30% derivation in terms of improved healthcare, improved educational facilities, improved road infrastructure, improved socioeconomic life generally for members of the host community. That will go a very long way in giving them a sense of ownership of this wealth, enough to vest their emotions, their sentiments, and their legitimacy on the authority of the state to secure oil and gas infrastructure for the collective benefit of the country. Now, without this, and if you decide to just go it on the kinetic dimension, it might become intractable of some sort. So the two must go hand in hand. And that would be being responsible as a state. So we need to carry all of these pressures along. And most importantly, too, the Ministry of Nigerian Delta is within the purview of the federal government. The NDDC is within the purview of the federal government. We want to see the depoliticization of the Ministry of Nigerian Delta and the NDDC. We do not want to see these agencies being tools for political settlement going forward. And let the president appoint the best of hands, the best Nigerians available as developmental experts to man these agencies, so that whatever resources is committed to the people of Niger Delta, we will be rest assured that they have people of integrity, enough integrity, to make sure that these resources go down to the people it was meant for. I think a combination of these measures will go a long way to pacify the region, develop the region, and secure our oil and gas infrastructure enough for us to have a boost in oil production and see us out of this economic crisis we are currently embroiled in.
Yes,